Are you stepping onto the court for the first time, or maybe you already did and you're wondering, what was that shot, or where do I move, or who the heck is that ERNE guy? Well, today we're gonna talk about all the shots in pickleball. We're gonna share what they are, and we're gonna give you one key tip to hit that shot better. All right, we're gonna go in order of when you'll hit these shots. So I'll step back and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. Just hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, you won't miss out. So again, come on back. We're gonna learn how to hit the serve. So what we wanna do, we just wanna be behind the line, and we have to hit the serve cross court. Now it's gotta get over that thing they call the kitchen, and it's actually gotta get over the line. Now the key here with the serve is we're dangling our arm, we're taking it back, and we're hitting it through. When you're thinking about the serve, this is what makes it easy. Serve and stay. Don't serve and go into the net, because you'll probably hit it out of the air and you'll lose the point. We can't hit that second ball out of the air, so we just want to serve and stay.
All right, so the next shot is the return. My opponent just hit the serve and they're staying. I'm gonna be hitting the return starting from behind the baseline, making sure that I'm hitting and running. So instead of serving and staying, I'm hitting and running and moving into that kitchen line. One key aspect that you wanna get on the return is making sure that you're hitting your return deep in the court. This makes sure that your server is actually staying deep, and it makes it more difficult to hit even the third ball, which we'll get into in a second.
All right, so we've made our way to the third shot. So you've hit that serve, you've stayed back, the return, the second shot has come back, we're hitting that third. We've got two choices. You got the drop or you got the drive. The drive's probably more fun. Elisha will talk about that. I'm gonna talk about the drop. So the drop is when we're hitting that ball nice and smooth over the net, and it's landing in that kitchen area, in between the net and your opponent at the kitchen line. Now, we wanna keep things very simple when it comes to the drop. We're just having our paddle off to the side, and we're pushing out towards the target. Now, so many people just lift up when they're hitting the drop. The one key thing I want you to think about to make sure that that ball goes far enough is that you're pushing up and out. So take that paddle back and push out towards your target.
All right, so we're still on that third ball, but now instead of the drop, we're gonna do the drive. So the drive is basically a swing at the ball, keeping it low over the net, and we're hitting it a lot harder. So instead of that high arc, we're gonna keep it nice and low. A key technique for you to learn about the drive is making sure you're turning, you're staying low, and then we're swinging through, okay? So turn, stay low, and swing through. Those three things when you're hitting that drive.
All right, so we've just hit that perfect drop or drive. Now we're making our way to that kitchen line, and we're doing what's called dinking. So we're hitting these dinks where it's almost like an abbreviated drop, where you're just trying to dink it right over the net into the kitchen. Now we wanna think very simple when it comes to the dink. I'm gonna share two things. The first thing, lock your wrist. So too often I see people snapping, chopping with their paddle. Just lock your wrist and lift the ball over the net. The second thing, I'll give you a drill to do. Set the ball on your paddle, and all you're gonna do is lift it over the net. Now that's a similar motion that you wanna do when you're dinking. Now, here's the thing when it comes to dinking. I like to call pickleball sometimes patience ball, because you have to be so patient when you're at the kitchen and you're dinking. So you're gonna win a ton more points if all you think about is just lifting the ball over and just getting one more dink back in.
All right, so the next shot is the volley. You're sure to come across this in a game, and it typically happens at the kitchen line. The volley is where you take the ball out of the air. We actually made a video on this covering the 3 types of volleys that you can check out right here. Oh wait, no, it's actually in this corner. But we're gonna talk about one volley today, one type of volley, and that is a key technique is making sure the paddle is in front of you. So we don't wanna take these massive swings behind us. We're gonna keep the paddle in front and just punch at the ball to keep the ball in play and have that consistent volley active.
This next shot is one of the more fun shots to hit in pickleball, And it's more of an advanced tip, but if you're a beginner, you have to know what it is because again, this is certainly gonna be brought up at some point. So the ERNE is when we're dinking, we're at the kitchen line, and what happens is you notice that you've maybe pulled off your opponent a little bit towards the post here. Now this is an opportunity when you have your opponent over here to jump that kitchen line and hit the ball out of the air. So it's called an ERNE when we're jumping over to the sideline, we're jumping over the kitchen and we're hitting that ERNE. So look for an opportunity, even if you don't make it, just give it a try. It's a lot of fun. You'll feel awesome when you do it.
All right, let's talk about another cool shot. This shot's called the ATP. Before we talk about this, we need to go back to the dinks. So when you're in a dink battle with your opponent and you're going cross court, a lot of times your opponent will hit a dink that lands in the kitchen that after that first bounce goes outside at an angle that the ball can actually see the court. You actually don't have to hit the ball back over the net. You can hit a low stinger to the court around the post. This is called an ATP. And if you thought the ERNE was cool that Justin talked about before, this one's gonna really show off on the court.
Shot number 9 and 10 go hand in hand. I'm talking for shot number 9 about the lob. Felicia will talk about the overhead for number 10. So what is the lob? The lob is when we hit the ball high and we're trying to get the ball over our opponent's head. This is buying us time. So there's two ways that the lob can be used. It can be used offensively or defensively. I'm gonna talk about how to use it defensively. So if you find yourself in a point and you're in trouble, you're pulled off, you're off balance, throw up a lob and give yourself time. Now here's the key. Try to get the lob as deep as you can with as much arc as you can so it's getting over your opponent's head and they don't have an easy smash. If you get it too short, they're gonna be right on top of the ball and putting that shot away.
All right, next let's talk about the overhead. It goes hand in hand with what Justin just talked about with the lob. When someone lobs it, you're gonna get the opportunity to overhead. An overhead is where you hit the ball out of the air over your head. The key to hitting a great overhead is making sure that you get under the ball and you're striking it above your head. A lot of people go too far to the right or too far to the left or too far behind them. So make sure you get your body under the ball so you can consistently hit a smash in the court.
Before you go, be sure to check out Carbon Pickleball and use code PBJourney10 for 10% off any paddle or Carbon Pickleball gear.